everybody. It's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. And this is a special podcast for the ITAD Association and TR Publications. I'm very pleased to welcome to our podcast today Jhoanna Rosales, CEO of Vertmonde. Jhoanna, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much, Doug.
So, first of all, welcome and congratulations on becoming a member of the ITAD Association. And we're going to be talking about that membership and now your involvement in the organization. But first, let's talk. We'll also be talking about the Latin American market and how it's changing and what that means to people that are in the ITAD Association, but also our enterprise readers, MSPs, and channel partner readers who might be watching or listening. But Jhoanna, first, briefly, what is Vertmonde?
Well, Vertmonde is a company that started as a cause of avoiding pollution by electronic waste in Ecuador. That was our main objective. We've been in the market for 13 years as the first and only still electronic waste recycling facility, and now also circular electronics and refurbished, reuse, and all the other services.
Vertmonde, what is the geographical area that you serve?
So our facility is primarily in Ecuador. So we provide services all over Ecuador, nationwide, but also through our network of partners, we are able to provide services in some countries in Latin America. Mainly Colombia, which is close by, Peru, Chile, Argentina, and Brazil, which are kind of like the most advanced, let's say, markets and the biggest markets in the region. Although, again, we are our local operations are just in Ecuador.
So if I'm an end user, if I'm an enterprise and we have sites, let's say in Brazil, Peru, or some of these other locations, and now it's time to dispose of equipment, why do I need you? Why do I turn to you?
Basically, because we're one touch point and all-in-one service. What we do is everything from collection from anywhere, recycling, also refurbishing or harvesting material, or even simple things are as storaging equipment assets that still needs to go through some sort of testing for our clients, and then shipping them back somewhere where they are reused again or put into some service again. So we pretty much can deal with all these all-in-one solutions, and also we can provide these through our network of partners, which make it easier because you don't have to. Companies will not have to look for an independent company in each of these markets. We can handle it all through them. And the one interesting thing is that we try to make our partners deliver our services in the same way that we deliver them here in Ecuador. So it's kind of standardized what you get working with us throughout the region.
When do people need to turn to you? Is what I'm thinking of here is with the ITAD certification. You were telling me earlier, rules have started changing in Latin America, and so maybe the way you disposed of equipment before is not good.
Yeah, that is an interesting thing, a shift that has happened in the past maybe 8 years, that certain countries in Latin America start developing more advanced and interesting legislation, not only regarding e-waste recycling, but also circular economy legislations around the Latin America. They are starting to come up. There are data protection legislations all over the region. So a lot of companies now are obliged to comply with certain data protection requirements all over our countries. So these are kind of like the movements that have been happening in the region. And I think this shift has made it very important for services like us and other companies that are doing the same kind of services to be more useful for companies. Whereas before, Latin America probably was not a very developed market, like most of things were quite informal. And sometimes companies we had a lot of clients which previously had to fly away equipment from all these, from the region back to the US or somewhere where they can actually be handled properly. Since all this legislation is coming up and the market is formalizing, there are a lot of service providers that now are qualified with certifications, not only ISOs, but R2 certifications and others, in order to have high standards in our services throughout the region.
Why did you guys decide to become an ITAD, and then why did you decide to become part of the ITAD Association?
I think for us, for the past, let's say, 12 years, we've been working with US companies and European companies as as a service provider. Like, we develop all these services that sometimes companies need as a very specific thing to be done in Ecuador once every 3 years. So in the past years, we've been trying to strengthen those relationships, opening up, broadening our services, a range of services to comply with what the companies in the US and Europe need. And our main interest in the ITAD Association is pretty much get to know, get connections with all these other members, and try to establish some sort of commercial relations, which can go in both ways. So the first thing would be like we providing services here in the region, but we have also tested another kind of commercial relations, where we buy refurbished equipment, or we source refurbished equipment from refurbishing companies in the US and Europe, and bring them in Latin America and in the Ecuadorian market, when here the sourcing is a little bit not going that well. So this is our interest now, to get to find these connections, these relations.
So, what's new at Vertmonde?
So I think what's interesting to bring up, it's probably our new initiatives. One, it's a very social oriented one. We have a partnership with the biggest educational NGO in the country. They pretty much build schools in the rural areas in Ecuador to bridge the gap of education in the country. And one of the things that I was always missing is, of course, technology. It's really hard to equip all these around 280 schools with new technology. So our partnership is called Empower. We have a very interesting initiative where we want to bridge the digital gap in the rural area, in the schools in the rural area, with refurbished equipment instead of brand new equipment, makes it a little bit cheaper, and makes it also an interesting initiative for our clients and for corporations, that they do have now a place, an initiative, a program where they can donate some equipment, and we will refurbish it fully and then put them across the country. So that is the first interesting one. We're very proud of it and all the results that we have had, because also throughout the network of our clients, we have accomplished a lot of other things, like connectivity, for instance, because of course computers without internet is like they're worthless. So some of our clients already commit to providing internet to all these schools in the rural areas, and we continue to evolve this initiative. And the second one, which is also a very emblematic initiative, it has to do more with electronic waste recycling in the Galapagos Islands. The Galapagos Islands are like very emblematic worldwide because of the natural environment and everything. But as islands, they have a lot of difficulties in terms of waste management overall, logistics and everything. So we have started this Galapagos Free of E-waste campaign, already running for a year and a half, I think, where pretty much we're collecting all electronic waste generated in the islands that before were just dumped, and flying it to Ecuador. We have a good partnership with one of the main airlines in the region, and they are helping us flying all this waste to Ecuador inland. and also by ship, because there's a lot of big things that we have to bring through shipping companies. We're very happy about this one as well. At the moment, we have gotten more than 20,000 kilos of electronic waste that was polluting the Galapagos Islands into mainland Ecuador for proper recycling. So yeah, these are the big news. We're also working on sustainable mobility, because there's not really sustainable mobility if we don't think about what happened when the batteries are worn out and we need to change those batteries and then recycle them, reuse them. So this is our new main project, also working on batteries, overall refurbishment, reuse, and recycling.
Now, in these projects, and they're very exciting, are you, first of all, let's start with the Empower. Are you encouraging people to actually maybe contact you if they have equipment that could be used in these schools?
Yes, absolutely. We do that with corporations because the amount of electronics we need is it's very big. So what we do is, if any company that has equipment of around 4 years of use, because we don't want to put scrap in schools, we actually need them to be not obsolete. So
Right.
this kind of equipment, we make some value of it, testing, and after that, we start all the refurbished program and then putting them in the schools. So yes, this is one of the first things that we would love to hear from. If any corporations have this kind of equipment and are wondering whether to donate them, recycle them, or whatever they want to do, to consider this very interesting program in Ecuador.
I'm fascinated by what you're doing in the Galapagos Islands. That I wouldn't have thought that that would be a problem, but I guess so, right? The equipment arrives and someone uses it, but then what do you do with it when it's over?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. In this one, we also still are looking for sponsorships, because bringing waste from Galapagos is quite expensive. So we do have a cost ensemble around it. We have some sponsorship agreements as well, where basically we just need logistics in order to bring all the things that we collect there back to mainland for recycling.
And then the Sustainable Mobility Initiative, that's very interesting. That, I guess, applies to everybody, doesn't it?
Yes, and it actually
Yeah.
started in Galapagos as well, because
Really?
there was a. It was very interesting because as the Galapagos is like this very natural environment, there was a movement about 10 years ago where the very first generation of electronic vehicles, very small ones like golf cars and stuff, tiny, they start to pop up in the market. And in Ecuador, there was this idea of bringing them to Galapagos. The problem is that there was no service providers for absolutely anything that has to do with these cars, and they've been literally dumped in the streets for a couple of years now. Batteries are empty. Nobody knows how to handle them, how to repair them, how to do nothing. So that is how it all started. Like, if this is happening here in Galapagos, probably everywhere else is happening as well. So yes, we're going into this sustainable, putting the sustainable part at the end of the mobility transition that we are seeing all around the globe.
Joanna, I think as we close up our podcast today, you brought up something I bet happens around the world, which is people start something and they mean well, and it comes with electronic equipment, whatever it is, and they run out of money or run out of time or whatever, and then it just gets left.
Yes, left behind, exactly.
Yeah.
And
So,
those are the problems that we're trying, like, finding all over the country. A place like Galapagos, it's so special that makes these problems like just pop up, so you can actually see them. But then if you turn to look around, it's just happened in every other city in the country.
Jhoanna, I have to say, I have never, the words Galapagos Islands and Technology Reseller News podcast, this has never happened before. We've never talked about that before. So, some news. So, this is really interesting. Well, first of all, I really want to thank you for joining me today. Congratulations
Thank you
on
very much.
becoming a member of ITAD Association. I hope we have more discussions like this and you're able to update us. Where can we learn more about Vertmonde?
So our webpage, it's www.vertmonde.com. And then, of course, we have our LinkedIn page as well, Vermont Electronic Waste Recycling Ecuador. And yeah, I think those are our main websites, let's say. And then, of course, of the cause, Ecuador Free of E-waste, ecuadorfreeofewaste.com.
All right, Jhoanna Rosales, CEO of Vertmonde. Congratulations again on ITAD Association, and I hope to
Thank you
do
very
doing
much.
another podcast with you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Doug.